Greetings, it's Chappers. Welcome to another Rob Chappers Response Region Reactions, or this is a Q&A video, basically. I was originally going to shoot this whilst I played Diablo 2, but to be honest with you, it's so nice out here today. Cheers. So nice that I just thought, I'll shoot it outside, get some fresh air. I'm in the middle of an extensive bout of cleaning my body with kind of a dieting, juicing, healthy living phase. So I'm feeling a little bit, and I thought the best thing to cure that would be an incredibly strong Maltese coffee. So forgive me, my friends, if I banter off to Guantanamo Bay. I've also got this, which is going to be a lot better if I take it now. Some Safari Peach. Oh yeah, that's good. Okay, I've got 20 questions here from my buddy Fat Philosopher. Boom! I'm an 80s thrash metal fan. What are the best / easiest songs in thrash to learn on the guitar? Well, absolutely old school Metallica. Hands down, old school Metallica. You will already have the classics in your mind, but I started off with Seek and Destroy. That was the track that really got me into downpicking and riffs in general. Seek and Destroy, Creeping Death if you want to start bringing up the tempo, and then some of the old Sabbath stuff is just incredible, although it's not really 80s thrash. Look at Prong, look at Metallica, to be honest with you. I would say if you can learn things like Blackened, Creeping Death, then you are on the highway to success, my friend, and you will enjoy yourself. That's my recommendation for 80s thrash. Next question from OD Guitars, who makes stunning, beautiful guitars. Beautiful, smiley, pretty face. What's your new goals for the future music Chapman Guitars? Well, I've discussed this previously, but for myself, I shall be working on a signature guitar with my buddy Dave, the head designer at Chapman Guitars, which is tremendously exciting. And in terms of Chapman itself, we are gradually filling in the pro range and the standard range with the missing models. They're missing because, of course, COVID gave us all sorts of issues with the factory not being able to manufacture things, and deliveries being held back, and people needing to be, working from home, and it was just difficult for us to do anything. So it's taking longer than normal to produce new models and that kind of thing. So new models from Chapman filling in the pro line, kicking off really with the ML2, which is what a lot of you are kind of excited about. ML2 Pro, and some other exciting things for the standard line that I'm not really going to talk about yet, but I'd like to, but I probably shouldn't. And with regards music, well, there's the new EP Church of the Wolf, which you're probably bored of hearing about by now. The new single launches in a couple of weeks' time, and in my opinion, I think it's the best thing I've ever done. I am incredibly proud of it. I feel humbled and so happy that I've got an incredible team to work with remotely. And that I'm so blessed that my wife can sing backing vocals like she does. It's just madness. So I'm really happy. It's called One Thing I Feared, and it's about things I feared, I guess. Thank you, OD Guitars. Raymond the Bastard. Love you, Raymond. What advice do you give to someone trying to grow their individual followings as well as following for 2 other bands? Cheers, dude. My advice would be to don't strive or care about how many people are following you. It's really about the quality of the follower. It's more about, are they engaged? Are they really happy to be there? Are they your follower, or just following because it's just a thing to look at every so often? It's the quality, not the quantity. I mean, you could have, I've got 700 and whatever thousand subs on YouTube, but then through the powers that be with the algorithm bots and people's schedule of hundreds of things to watch, maybe only 20,000 people will watch a video. So it comes down to lots of other elements, but really my advice is don't worry about it. Just make engaging content that makes you happy so that it is sustainable. Because if you're trying to make stuff that you don't really like making, but you feel like you should because other people do it and it works for them, you're never going to survive long term. The only reason I've managed to, I've made 2,500 videos on YouTube. And that's a hell of a lot. If you work out how long it takes to film, edit, and then upload, that is solid years of my life into ones and zeros. But the only reason I was able to do that is because I really enjoy the process and I love working with and collaborating with musicians online. So and that's why my content is so randomly varied. It might be a Q&A, or it could be a Diablo playthrough, or it could be a review of a guitar, or I just make loads of different stuff. That's how you, in my opinion, survive in this industry. MRev1 Line 1. Greetings, Rob. Ukrainian in the UK speaking. Hello, Mr. Ukrainian. My question is, in 2021, digital or analog? To which I imagine he is referring to amplification. And I would still, I'm old school, man. I'm a tube valve amp guy. Especially when I'm in the middle of, I've finished recording this EP. It felt so nice to crank up a valve amp, smell it in the room, feel the room move, walk in, grab a drink, take off the snare on the snare, and then just rip it. And I don't get the same feeling from a digital amplifier yet. Guthrie Govan said the same thing to me when I was testing the Silverback years ago, and he was testing his. There's a little bit of a breeze, so you might get a bit of wind noise, sorry about that. He was testing an amp that he was using. We both sort of had that nod of analog does something that digital quite hasn't managed to capture yet, but it will do. I'm sure it will. That doesn't mean you have to swap over though. Use whatever you like. Din Histy official. Who is the most famous person you have on your phone contact list? This feels like a little bit of a question that I feel like maybe I shouldn't answer. By the way, I randomized these questions that I'm answering. Probably John Petrucci. I don't know. I'm not sure. Probably John Petrucci. Hi, John. How you doing, man? We chat about Mediterranean food and ancient aliens and stuff. It's great. Min and Shell. Great photo, dude. Will you be touring the UK soon? Plus, any tips, advice for new guitar players? Cheers, Martin. Yes, I am due to play in the UK in June, mid-June. I'll be making a video about this coming up soon. It's a festival with Clockwork Wolf and Company, and it's called Black Deer, and it's going to be really, really cool. Robert Plant is headlining, and it's one of the only festivals in the UK to stay open and adhere to guidelines, and it's going to be an absolute spectacle. I'm just so excited to play again live, desperate to get my injections and fly back and see my parents as well. Yeah, Black Deer Festival, Clockwork Wolf and Company in June. Proper date and times and everything to be conveyed via a video at some point soon. Tips, advice for new guitar players. It's a journey that never ends. You'll always find, someone better than you, a Peter Honore or a Rabia Massad or, anybody. It doesn't matter. It's about loving what you do. And for me, if you write your own music, then you will have a much more rewarding journey. So it's fun to learn, the shred. Like, we've got a new Chapman Guitars endorsee called Yo Onitan, who's a Japanese guy who can shred better than anyone I have ever seen in my life. I can barely comprehend the physical ability this guy has. You don't need to be like that. You just need to be able to play the music in your head. That was the music in his head. What's the music in your head is the question I have for you. Comment in the comment section below if you have music in your head. 72 Ivor 72. Yo, Chappers. I'm really getting into blues guitar. Any favourite blues musicians to recommend? Well, yes, sir. Kenny Wayne Shepherd, Blue on Black, one of the best blues rock tunes ever written. Heard that when I first went to Canada to live for a bit. Philip Sace, go check out Philip Sace. You know, the Larkin Poe crew, Tyler Bryant. The last thing that Captain Lee played on his Instagram I thought was brilliant. I thought it was the best thing he'd ever played. Anything by Pete, you know. Just, yeah. I think for now, I'd drop them. Those guys are incredible. So, _TRSTEW_. When is the next of the 3 storms coming? For which he is referring to the Stormburst series from Chapman Guitars. Standard line, made in Indonesia, but with USA Seymour Duncan pickups. Inspired by the best movie of all time and space, Big Trouble in Little China. It's getting hot here, bruv. So, the first storm was Thunder, conceived of during a thunderstorm, like the track To Survive. And the next one is Rainstorm. It's going to be absolutely stunning and probably won't be around visually for you guys for at least another 4 or 5 months. But it's going to be really special. MHI_private_account. Yes, there are 3 new models for the standard line that I think I'm shielding you from the wind. Feel secure and safe, like Baby Yoda, because I've finally been able to see. I'm so sorry about this wind. I promise next time I shoot a Q&A or shoot anything outside, I'm going to bring a fluffer to reduce any wind noise. I promise, it'll never happen again. It's annoying me as much as it is annoying you. Yes, back with the video. I can tell you that they are MR3s, and that's all I'm going to tell you. They are absolutely stunning. I'm really excited to play them. I haven't played them yet. They are in the prototyping phase, going off to dealers soon to purchase, and it's pretty exciting for me because it's the kind of thing that I really, really like. So that might give you a clue. Rory Duggan. Hey Rob, what's your opinion on going busking with an electric guitar on my own, instrumentals only? Is it worthwhile or a complete waste of time? Thank you. Thank you, Rory. Right now, I would not recommend standing and having lots of people walk by you. I don't think that's necessarily safe. How do I put this? Not a good idea right now. Is busking a good idea? Yeah, if you want to practice your live work, your craft, then yes. In terms of reaching out to an audience, probably not. Unless you film it and then put that on social media. Because if you busk and you don't film it, what you did existed in time for that time only. Whereas if you film it and put it on social media, it exists forever. And like Hannah Bolton sent me a photograph of a gig I did in Norway that I still pinch myself about when I played with Steve Vai. And we were back to back playing Wind Cries Mary. And it was a shoot me now moment. It was absolutely mind blowing. And she sent me a photograph this morning and was like, remember this? And I was like, oh my God, I remember that. If it hadn't been photographed and videoed, then it would just have been a one-off thing that just happened and went. It's really important to capture things that you do. If you are a musician, when you play, you are creating content that needs to be harnessed, squeeze every bit of juice out of it. Like this juice. Stiggy Stardust. Hey Rob, I remember years ago you did a review of the Overtune. Yes. You seemed super impressed. Have you considered putting Overtune bridges in Chapman guitars? No. Evertune is probably one of the best inventions, one of the most innovative inventions on a guitar in the past 10 years. It really is an incredible, innovative invention that genuinely works. You never go out of tune, and that's incredible. And so that element of what it does to me is great. However, I was not a fan of the way it altered the tone of the guitar or the sustain. And I noticed that notes lasted less time, and that the sound of the guitar was dramatically altered because you remove a large chunk of bodywood. Now, if you are smacking out distorted riffs and you don't care about sustain and you don't care about the tone of your original instrument being altered, then probably it's a really good thing to do. And I know that Solar have a lot of success with that bridge, and it's kind of become part of their USP. But not that I don't like it, but I don't think you need it. If you really know how to set up a guitar properly, and you really know how to tune and stretch the strings and grease the nut and everything, and you know, if you know guitar maintenance and you play with good technique, then I think it's an invention that you don't need, as is evidenced by the thousands of incredible guitar players who preceded that invention who didn't need it. So it's great for studio work, for spanking out heavy chords. Is it necessary? No. Is it very expensive? Yeah, if you add it into a guitar, it costs a lot more money. So, not for Chapman, but still a cool thing. I'm going to guess it's Kyle Beeman, but KYL3B. Hey, what happened to the sun, man? It's behind the one cloud it could find. Kyle 3 Beeman, what are some solid alternatives to the pentatonic scale? I really do get lost with Dorian iron and so forth. Are scales meant for certain types of music? When I solo pentatonic over rock, 80s hair metal, it never sounds right. Well, that's interesting because that's all about pentatonics. So that makes me question whether or not maybe you are understanding how to apply the scale, which would seem unusual if you understand what Dorian and Ionian are. Let me put this in as simple a term as possible. What you play over the song is dictated to by the key and the chords that you are playing over. So if you are playing over a C major chord, then you can play C major over the C major chord. Your scale notes need to fit, or the notes you play have to fit with the chord you are playing over. So it's imperative to know the chord progression. So for example, recently I was playing over a progression in a track that I've written for this EP, and it went C major D, and then it went F sharp major, and it's not an intuitive chord progression to just shred over. So I was jumping between a mode and pentatonic, or major pentatonic even. If I didn't know the chords, I would have had to try to feel it, which is fine. You know, you can do that. But if you know the chords, it's better. Play the notes of the chord. So if you're playing over an F sharp major chord, play the notes of that chord and extensions, and you'll be fine. So the way I apply modes is I look at the chords I'm playing and I play an appropriate mode for the chord. Or I play the mode of the key. If it's staying within key. Some songs change key. I hope that didn't get too highfalutin, as my mum would say. D. Marsalis. At Rob Chappers, are you going to play the Diablo 2 remake? Yes, sir. Yes. Didn't make a satisfying break noise, but yes. I cannot wait to play Diablo 2 remake. They've looked like they've done such a good job. They maintain the feeling of hitting things, you know, dual wieldy kind of stuff. It's got all the nostalgia of the past. I don't know how many years I played Diablo 2 for, 20 years maybe. It's very exciting for me. I know it's only a computer game. Keep telling yourself it's only a computer game. So yes, I'm excited. The Mighty Quins. What kept you playing guitar and making music for so long? It's simple, really. I fell in love with... Metallica made me feel like I wanted to be in a band. Metallica made me fall in love with the idea of being in a band of brothers. And Joe Satriani made me fall in love with the idea of playing guitar. So, and actually you too did a lot for that too, when I was a kid. But really what it comes down to is I love the feeling of playing guitar, and I love the feeling of playing music to other people. Okay, from _Empyrean, what's one tip for recording you wish you knew when you first started out, that you would give to someone who records from home using something like Logic and Scarlett? It's a really, really easy tip. 2 microphones sound so much better than one, especially if they are different microphones, but very similar. Because what you want is something capturing the sound, and then something that is almost the same but not quite, capturing in the same area, and you get this big field, and it just sounds fat, really fat. So my recommendation is to get something like an SM57 and the Thomann equivalent of an SM57. Put them close together like that, like this. It's gonna sort you out. That's what that is. That's what I do. Okay. Not shot guitar. What's the biggest hurdle for you to overcome to keep pressing forward with your band, your brand, and your music? Coming out of that, what do you reflect on to continue pressing forward? What are some of the nice surprises along the way? Biggest hurdle for me is apportioning my time correctly so that Chapman doesn't suffer because I want to do band stuff, or that my band doesn't suffer because I want to do Chapman stuff. And then furthermore, that my family doesn't suffer because I'm spending too much time with that, getting overworked, anxiety, stressed, and I'm not a good dad and a good father and a good husband. So correctly allocating my time. I have a tendency to push myself a little bit too hard. And not that I'm never satisfied, but I'm a bit of a workaholic with everything I do, which is why I have so many projects. So I bite off more than I can chew, and I need to avoid doing that. I really need to drop some projects to allow the ones that I'm really passionate about to grow. So I think that's going to be important for me. Something coming out of that will be a surprise. I'm doing an NFT thing really soon. About 2 weeks ago, before this really blew up in music, I spoke to my label and I said, we should do an NFT single. We should sell somebody the rights to the recording of one of my tracks and sell it with a guitar and some cool things. So look out for that. Yeah, good question. The Steve guitar. Are we related? By Steve Chapman. I don't think so, but since you are a Chapman, I've just subscribed and followed you. Thank you, sir. Drummerman IKD 96. What is your favourite song to play on the guitar? It's simple. It's whichever song I have just written. That's the one I am normally the most passionate about. I have actually already written the next Clockwork Wolf and Company EP, and there are a couple of tracks on that I really love the riffs for. There's a couple of it's blues rock, rootsy, Americana, southern. It's got a feel to it, a vibe, but there's a little bit of technique in it, and I like that. It kind of has a nice feel. David _Nagy 10. Hey Rob, huge fan from the US. Thank you, sir. The one question I have had for the longest time since you own your own guitar company, has it changed the outlook on other brands of guitar that you play? Is your brand your favorite guitar to play, or is there another that you still count as your favorite? Has it changed my outlook on other brands? But the brands that I loved before Chapman even existed, I still love. I still love PRS, Gibson, Fender, the most. Oh, hello. Let me just turn this phone off so that people don't text all the time. I still love those brands. Do I view them differently? Yes, because I'm heavily involved in manufacturing of guitars. And so I now know that, how do I put this? I know how much it costs to make a guitar. From materials, infrastructure, factory, distribution. I know the chain inside out. So if I see a guitar for $3,000 US, I know the manufacturing cost. And that alters your perception of a product. When you know how, if you look at a cup of coffee and you go, oh, it cost me €1.50, and then you think, I wonder how much it costs to make, and it's like 30 cents or something. It changes your perception of the product. So to that end, I feel like my perception of product has changed. I am more than ever in favor of guitars that aren't super, super cheap, because to make them cheap to retail, they're very cheap to manufacture, like unbelievably. I mean, for example, if you look at something that retails for, 150 British pounds, that's going to be, you're looking at a quarter of that is the manufacturing cost, sometimes even less, because you've got the tax, you've got the retailer's cut, you've got your own cut, you've got distribution, you've got in some cases shipping additions. There's so many add-ons to the price along the path of a guitar's journey from manufacturing, from a forest tree to a guitar that you hold in your hands. But some brands don't work like that, and their directive is simply, we will charge as much as we feel we can get away with. So that would mean that they'll start, you can't make a guitar more expensive past a certain point. You understand? So wood costs what wood costs. Hardware costs what a hardware costs. And then some brands will start to invent things, terminology that feels like a price addition. A great example of that is a 10-top. What's a 10-top? Well, it's a name somebody gave to a piece of wood. It's just a name, but it means a lot to people that own them. It means a lot to me. I've got a 10-top PRS, so I love that. But you see what I mean? It's purely and simply graded wood. They write 10-top on it, and I've seen many guitars without a 10-top that were definitely a 10-top from PRS. And I still love PRS. Hey Paul. But so yeah, you can't alter how much something costs from origin dramatically. I know because I have tried. When I first started making guitars in Korea, the same factory that made PRS and Schecter, Lee and I said to the factory, is there anything we can do to make these, even better? Can we pay you more money? Can we buy more expensive timbers? Can we, and they came back and said, no, your guitars are currently the most expensive manufacturing in the entire factory. And we were like, this is mad. There's nothing we can do to just make them a bit better, because they're already great, but can we go up 10%? And he was like, no, you're it. That's it. You're at the top. So then you start thinking, that's interesting, Anyway, I went on too long on that one. Okay, _Kane does music. What's your dream guitar from your favorite musician? And it has to be, okay, I've got so many favorite musicians, but I really, 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 really want one of the new Pia gems, the green one. It just looks amazing. And I love Steve. It was a close one between that and the Silver Surfer from Joe, but I'd love a Pia gem. That for me would be such a cool, different kind of guitar in my collection that I would really enjoy that. Anyway, thank you for spending some time with me in the Maltese wilderness, and I hope this has been fun and enjoyable. Enjoy your day, and see you later. Chappers out.